Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Society of Schenectady. This morning, we are rejoicing for this beautiful day, rejoicing to be in this good company. We are grateful to be in this circle of caring people, those within this hall and those joining across the continent in our Zoom sanctuary. Together, may we journey with curiosity, finding meaning and experiencing truth, deepening and unfolding along the way. Here, may we know that each of us matters and that together we can make a bigger difference. I'm the Reverend Lynn Gardner. My pronouns are they or she. I serve as co-minister of this congregation along with Reverend Wendy Bartel. And we use Wendy's name rather than pronouns because pronouns don't fit. If you are visiting us for the first time, we offer you an especially warm welcome. We hope that all will stay after the service for a beverage, maybe say hello to someone you haven't yet met, and perhaps share a bit about your story with one another, as this month's theme is Our Living Stories. The flaming chalice is a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, a spark of transformation held in a cup of community, justice, and love. This morning, as Susan Moore kindles our chalice, I share these words with some adaptation from Kimberly Tomczyk Carlson. We are a people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories tenderly. Today we gather, present with our living stories unfolding among us. Gleaning wisdom from diverse journeys, we unite in hope for the future. Guide us to trust in love as we kindle this flame together. Thank you. This morning, I'm sharing a story about Clara Barton, who is one of our Universalist ancestors. Over 200 years ago, in 1821, Clara Barton was born in Oxford, Massachusetts. She grew up in the small farming community with her mother, father, and her brothers, who were quite a bit older than she was. Clara was very bright and began learning to read and write when she was just 3 years old. She was also very, very shy, described as timid. When she was 11, her older brother David was badly hurt when he fell off of a barn roof. He needed to rest and be cared for at home for almost 2 years while his head injuries recovered. Young Clara acted as his nurse, learning how to give medicine and care for his injuries. And in part, because of Clara's care, David made a full recovery. She grew up and became a teacher, and then the first woman to serve as a clerk in the U.S. Patent Office in Washington, D.C. When the Civil War broke out in 1861 and people in different parts of the United States were fighting with one another, Clara Barton was 40 years old. She was a Universalist and believed that all people are worthy of love and care, no matter which side of that war they were fighting on. She wanted to serve her country and work as a nurse, caring for soldiers who had been injured in the fighting. It was hard work, and sometimes it was also very sad, especially when some of the injured soldiers were men that Clara had taught. They had once been her students. She was committed to making sure that they got cared for. She gained the appreciation and admiration of many people for her commitment and care during the years of war. After the Civil War, Clara got permission from President Lincoln to create the Office of Missing Soldiers. She and her assistants wrote 41,855 replies to inquiries to the office and helped locate more than 22,000 missing men. As Wendy pointed out, this was pre-internet. Later in her life, after a trip to Switzerland where she learned about the Red Cross, she returned home and worked for several years to start the American Red Cross. Clara Barton continued her work and commitments to serve those in need well into her 80s. She is one of our Universalist ancestors from long ago. Today, we get to celebrate a member of UU Schenectady who, like Clara Barton, is committed to making a difference. And we invite Chris Hamelink and Nancy Bogdanowicz, co-chairs of the Daytime Alliance, along with Paula Shaw and Catherine Miller, co-chairs of the Green Sanctuary team, to make a special presentation together.
This morning, we are delighted to honor Nancy Peterson and to share a letter from Ann Weisner, Director of the National UU Women's Federation. Ann writes, "Dear Nancy Peterson, it is my great pleasure to inform you that the Women's Alliance and the Green Sanctuary teams of the UU Society of Schenectady have chosen to honor you by enrolling you in the Clara Barton Sisterhood of the UU Women's Federation. The Clara Barton Sisterhood was created by a vote of the 1979 Biennial Convention to honor UU women aged 80 or above and to recognize their contributions to the life of our religious association and to women's organizations. As one of the newest members of the Clara Barton Sisterhood, Nancy, you join almost 800 other women so far who have also been honored for their commitment, their generosity, and their service. You are being honored in part for your contributions to Unitarian Universalism. Those who enrolled you in the sisterhood provided us with this overview of service to your faith and to the wider community. The Daytime Women's Alliance and the Green Sanctuary team of UU Schenectady are honored to nominate you for the Clara Barton Sisterhood Award. Nancy has been active and a beloved member of our congregation since joining us in 2000. An avid environmentalist, in 2005, Nancy found out about the UU Ministry for the Earth and the Green Sanctuary program. By the following year, she had gathered a group of UUSS members who were concerned about the environment. And as Nancy explains it, quote, "We got to work on our own green sanctuary, and that launched me on my retirement career," quote. Nancy chaired this team from 2006 until 2023 and expanded the team's role into advocacy and climate justice work. She remains active on the team today. Nancy has also been a great asset serving on the board of trustees, on the board of our Daytime Alliance, where she has helped organize and present programs at the Alliance's monthly luncheons. She is a very valuable member of the Alliance team.
The letter continues. During her time at UUSS, Nancy has also served on the stewardship, buildings and grounds, gardening, and social justice/social action teams. For several years, she served as our congregation's delegate to a local nonprofit, the Schenectady Inner City Ministry, now Sycamore Collaborative, which runs the largest local food pantry and summer lunch program. Nancy has a talent for encouraging others to become more involved in our congregation and community, whether that involves environmental or women's issues or support for the hungry through advocacy, rallies, and other direct actions. All this while her vision has continued to decline. Many of Nancy's other volunteer activities are with local environmental organizations, including ECOS, the Environmental Clearinghouse of Schenectady, and SCIAC, the Schenectady County Environmental Advisory Council. We are pleased to honor this remarkable woman with the Clara Barton Sisterhood Award. Our thanks for all you have done for Unitarian Universalism. No one is more deserving of this honor than you are, and I am delighted to welcome you to the Clara Barton Sisterhood. On behalf of the UUWF membership and board, I send my congratulations. In Sisterhood, Ann Weissner, UUWF Director.
Nancy's receiving a framed certificate as well as a plant.
As someone who grew up in this congregation, listening to stories as our young people did down here, I often wondered myself, how do I care for the earth? How do I care for other people? And Nancy was my first role model for what it looked like to center caring for the earth and other people in our work in our congregation. We are so lucky to be able to give her this award, and her example and legacy will influence UUs and people in our region for generations to come. Thank you, Nancy.
Nancy, just giving for folks on Zoom, just to know that Nancy gives credit to all the teams that she was part of, that the work was done together as a team, which is another reason why you deserve this award, Nancy.
Our reading this morning is a poem by Joel Best and was included in The Sparks of Inspiration, a collection of images, poetry, and reflections from members of the congregation that we put together in 2022 as part of the stewardship campaign that year. In his poem, Prose of Life, Joel wrote, "We write upon ourselves the weighed words of justice, fill our souls to bursting, word upon word. Every page of our lives crafted by hands wealthy in diverse thought. We are countless stories, a dialogue of caring, yearning for harmony in longest night. The pages of our books, penned with rainbow ink, drink in this wondrous sight. We, the human library, our visions, precious cradles, nurture the dignity of human worth. This message will not fade. Bold words shouted out, mightiest of all, love."
I am Don Porter, and I have a couple of true living stories to share. Last week, my lovely wife Lois asked me, what are 5 of the most important decisions or actions of your life? My answers were clear. Number 1 was marrying her. Number 2 was joining this Unitarian Society. That was over 40 years ago. All these years of energetic participation in the life of this congregation have made a big difference in my life, filling my soul to bursting. Lois and I have participated in the book discussion group that started in 2021. It came out of the efforts of the UUSS anti-racism team. This group chooses a book each month written by an author who is Black, Indigenous, or a person of color, BIPOC. In January 2025, we read The Bone People by Carrie Holm, a New Zealander of mixed Maori descent. This was Holm's first work of fiction, and it is the powerful story of 3 outsiders. It was chosen to receive the Booker Prize for 1985, which was the first time that an author's first novel was chosen for the prize. 2 of the 5 judges objected vigorously and publicly to that choice. Holmes' outsider story became one of the most controversial winners of the Booker Prize. Holmes asked 3 women from her feminist collective to accept the award on her behalf. They walked to the London Guildhall podium wearing ceremonial Maori attire, chanting a karanga, a ceremonial call. That outsider essence resonates with some of my feelings about our BIPOC readings. The books we read reveal cultures and peoples with identities that are different than mine. I am an outsider looking in on the Maori and others, such as Reconstruction time in Georgia after the Civil War, or the Nigeria of a resourceful but abused 14-year-old girl, or contemporary Native American Los Angeles. The point is not to misappropriate another culture, but to be a respectful outsider, one who gains some perspective and appreciation of the inside. And yet Carrie Holm, author of The Bone People, is an outsider in the world of English fiction. She pursued her challenge, creating a Maori reality that offers us outsiders to that reality a contrasting outside perspective. This monthly practice of reading books that expand my understanding of what it means to be human have helped me to learn and grow. Last fall, Lois and I participated in one of the covenant groups organized by the Adult Faith Development Team. Our group of 7 members met for 90 minutes every 2 weeks. We started out by brainstorming our covenant, be honest, show up, no advice giving, and on and on. For each session, Reverend Lynn provided a written topic along with some inspiring quotes, an agenda, and a set of questions to think about in preparation for each meeting. Topics included joy, courage, integrity, and grief. After check-in, each member of the group shared their thoughts and feelings on the questions. This strong support produced powerful sharing. We each shared experiences from our lives that spoke to the challenges of the topic. In November, our themes were grief and gratitude. I responded to this question: what were you taught about grief and loss when you were young? Was grief hidden? Was it used to blame others? I shared this story of a major grief in my youth. I was 14. My grandmother was staying with us as usual during the weeks before Christmas. News came that her youngest son, Boyd, had died of a sudden heart attack at age 45. Boyd was a favorite in the family, a baseball player and coach and head of athletics for Baylor University. He was 3 years younger than my mother. This was the first funeral in my family that I was allowed to attend. My recall is dominated by my grandmother's grief. She could not stop saying, "If only I could have been taken instead of Boyd." She lived another 8 years, dying at age 89. We all felt horrified at her grief, not knowing how to respond. We were all suffering painfully as well. It was years later that I learned that, in fact, some blame was assigned. I was again an outsider of sorts, shielded from accusations of others by my youth. The book group, reading BIPOC authors, and the Covenant Circles experience are examples of UUSS activities meaningful to me, sponsored by the Adult Faith Development Team. Small group collaboration can unleash combined creativity with big gains for the participants. Sharing intimate stories and ideas in a safe setting is indeed powerful.
My name is Stephanie Maslanka. My pronouns are she, they. It's hard for me to believe that it's over 8 years that I've been coming to UUSS. The transformation has been significant. I can mark the changes in me during that time. I'm so grateful for the journey that has started with knowing that there had to be something else. As I tried to stay faithful to my Roman Catholic upbringing, not feeling that I could trust the leaders of that faith any longer, I was always quietly hoping to find that something. Thanks to a friend telling me she had been visiting here, my mom and I came to a service, and we found the difference that I had been yearning for. That something different has been drawing me back since my first visit. I can look at that spot where mom and I sat for worship, and I still feel the energy of community and belonging I felt 8 years ago. We continued to attend regularly. We went to getting to know UU classes, and I joined the congregation. One year, I participated in a covenant circle. Another year, Wellspring, a class for spiritual deepening. And my participation and commitment kept growing. I was invited to join the worship team, assisting and co-leading worship, which to this day is my full-hearted favorite thing to do. The worship team's purpose is to plan, create, and offer worship services grounded in Unitarian Universalism, Worship includes opportunities for comfort, inspiration, connection, challenge, and transformation. We regularly ask ourselves and consider, what are people in the congregation and the community needing at this time? Excuse me. How can we create space for people with different perspectives and needs? How might we explore our monthly themes in ways that are meaningful? What does it mean to live our Unitarian Universalist values now? Then 2 years ago came what I think of as a big ask: to apply to be nominated to the Board of Trustees. I thought, no, absolutely not. Me on the board? I don't know if I can do that. And I said yes. You see, as long as I kept coming here and I kept saying yes, I was growing. I looked at who was serving on the board. I trusted that it would be a good experience, and there were enough experienced board members to do the important work. From our first meetings and board retreat, I learned so much about our congregation and governance. I learned how our values are considered when the board makes decisions together. I also learned that I have value on the board and that our work together makes a difference. All this time, I was growing as a UU, but more so as a human being. I was growing into the values of being a Unitarian Universalist. It turns out that our values of interdependence, justice, equity, pluralism, generosity, and transformation, with love always at the center. It turns out these are great life values too. Most recently, I have joined the Social Justice Action Team and will be working to support democracy and fair elections with UU the Vote. I'm doing things I never thought I would do: protesting, calling elected officials, attending town halls, protecting constitutional rights, and volunteering more in our wider, greater community. Growing and embracing Unitarian Universalism as my religion of choice and being part of the living story of this congregation has been full of reward. Being called to this covenant and values of this faith is life affirming. This faith, this place, you have changed me, and I'm so grateful.
We are so grateful for both of you. Just over 125 years ago, with a desire to have a religious community for themselves, their families, and their growing community, 11 charter members created the first Unitarian Society of Schenectady with the help of the American Unitarian Association. Their 1901 Constitution said, "With Jesus of Nazareth, this society stands for freedom, fellowship, character, and service in religion. Its members differ widely in speculative thinking and hold their beliefs always open to restatement as growing thought and a purer life reveal new truth. We welcome to our fellowship all who are in love with the good, the true, and the beautiful, and who wish to join with us in the worship of God and the service of man." Unitarian Universalism is what we often call a living tradition. We continue to learn and grow and change over time. At least we hope so. We draw from a variety of sources for inspiration and to guide our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And as growing thought and pure life reveal new truth, covenant has become more central. We have become less Christocentric and intentionally more pluralistic and more inclusive over the decades. Today, the purpose statement of this congregation that is said and stated in the bylaws says this: "The members of this society covenant to maintain and foster in Schenectady a non-creedal religious society, whose purpose shall be to encourage a free and responsible search for truth, knowledge, and understanding." Nurture the religious growth of all who participate in the life of this society. Serve the community. Seek the realization of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And it closes with affirming the individual right of conscience, freedom of belief, and the democratic process with reverence for life and respect for the profound mystery of existence. We enter into this covenant, promising to one another our mutual trust and support. In 1901 and in our current bylaws, these are powerful words. Some of them still aspirations that we are living into. In recent years, UU Schenectady has served the community in a variety of ways, including working to defend democracy and resist fascism, sharing funds through our special Sunday collections and the Social Justice Action Fund grant, sharing contributions of food and holiday stockings to the Sycamore Collaborative, hosting community-wide programs like the Gift of Seeds and the training for creating Fourth Amendment workplaces, preparing to provide housing to community members in need, and offering 4 different levels of Our Whole Lives, the human sexuality and reproductive health classes that are geared towards age-appropriate lessons where we learn more about our bodies, about consent, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, and healthy ways of being, and being in bodies, and being together. And yesterday, we hosted a community-wide celebration with the first MayFest. As we celebrate the congregation's 125th anniversary this year, we will continue to weave in stories of the past, remembering the people and events that have given shape to Unitarian and Unitarian Universalism and Universalism in Schenectady. As with all of human history, some of those stories are of mistakes, mishaps, and others are inspirational, illustrating creativity, courage, and compassion. And sometimes they'll be both.
I find the stories of the ministry of Reverend Charles Slapp to be both inspiring and heartbreaking. He served as minister here from 1985 until 1992 and was known as thoughtful and caring, committed and kind. Congregation member Becky Holder reflected on his ministry, saying, although Unitarian Universalism has been on record as supporting the rights of bisexual, gay, and lesbian people since 1970, Charles was advised by the Schenectady lay leaders in 1985 not to come out as a gay man to the congregation. So he served in silence until he was diagnosed with AIDS in 1991. At that time, a congregational meeting was called. Charles's physician, the church leadership, and a UUA representative were to be present to explain his health crisis. The denominational representative suggested that Charles stay away from that meeting. But as Charles said at that time, it is my congregation, and he chose to speak. The response was a standing ovation from the members who were present. We know that some of you were here that day. In his final sermon, Two Black Cats, delivered on March 29th, 1992, Charles wrote, "What have I learned about closure this past year? In what ways have the various crises forced me to grow? I learned to say thank you, to accept the gifts of love and care and time that have been given me these past months, from the community of saints that helps not just me, but all who are hurting, from the love I have received as minister of this church. I learned about love in community." Each of us here are part of the living story of this congregation. the story that is being created as each of our lives unfold and weave together. May our living stories be one of creativity, compassion, and courage. May our mishaps and mistakes lead to learning and be followed by healing and forgiveness. And may we be blessed to have our collective stories include love. Love learned and lived in community. And love at the center of all we are and do. May it be so today and always. Amen, and blessed be.
Our friend and colleague, the Reverend Sarah Barron, serves the United Methodist Church here on State Street in downtown. She brought her family to the MayFest yesterday. She and her husband have 2 young kids, and it was so good to see them. Her oldest loves bouncy houses, and her youngest loves water. She texted this morning to express their family's gratitude, and she noted community values clearly lived in community. And that's what they experienced here yesterday. To be a Unitarian Universalist is to live as one, that others can know what we value by how we live our lives and how we treat one another and the earth. Where we create, as Dawn named, a space for sharing intimate stories and ideas in a safer setting. And living our values out loud, as Stephanie noted, it turns out that our values of interdependence, justice, equity, pluralism, generosity, and transformation with love at the center are great life values too. This is our benediction, our living stories. May they more and more often demonstrate our community values clearly lived in community.